Hello everybody, welcome back to another episode of This Way Out. I am Miguel Mata, and today my guest is...
Matthew Morris.
Matthew Morris. It's very nice to meet you, Matthew. I appreciate you being on the show. Potentially some heavy discussion here, but I appreciate you being here. Especially having the courage to discuss what is probably one of the toughest topics to talk about. But the purpose of this show, as you know, and as those of you know who are watching this, it's to shed a light on the fact that everyone has things that they deal with, and that it's possible to get beyond these challenges that we experience. And you're one of those people. So before we get into the meat and potatoes of kind of what brought you here, we'd like to get to know you a little bit. So
absolutely, sure.
Where are you from originally?
I was born in Charleston, and we lived in different places, but mainly always around the Low Country.
And where'd you go to school at? I know a few of the schools here, but where'd you go to school at? I
went to Berkeley.
Berkeley. Mm-hmm. Berkeley High School?
Yes, Berkeley High School, Moncks Corner, South Carolina.
What's the mascot there?
Stag.
The Stag? Go Stags? Mm-hmm. Okay.
I know, everyone always makes the joke, other teams got the Panther, the Lion. Our team eats your mascot, that kind of thing. But, it's just how it is.
That's cool, dude. That's cool. You haven't been in Charleston, like how old are you, if you don't mind me asking?
27.
27 years old. So you haven't spent all 27 years here in Charleston. You did some time.
I served in the United States Marine Corps, and I did some time there, and then we obviously moved, so we went to different states and whatnot with my mom before that ever happened. But yeah, I spent some time in the Corps. I was an explosives expert.
An explosives expert. What does that do exactly? I mean, it sounds like it's easy enough to put together in the title there, but what exactly does that involve?
Well, I was a 2311 ammunition technician. My job was to inspect ammunition and explosives, handle the logistics, the storage, the movement, getting it out to the units that needed it for training or for actual operations. And there are a lot of sub jobs within that. Within the supply chain that is ammunition itself. Specifically, for my longest duty, I was in issues and segregations, and then I was the non-commissioned officer of shipments.
Okay. That sounds like a lot of responsibility.
Just a little bit, yeah.
Yeah, especially when you're dealing with explosives. Yeah. I have a little bit of experience with explosives myself, and that maybe not quite to the magnitude that you do.
Well, we're not EOD. We don't, it's not as hardcore as it sounds.
Right.
It does have its dangers, and as long as you follow the procedures, you can be safe.
Right. Well, I like I said, I am familiar with explosives myself in the job that I did. So, congratulations making it out of the Corps with all your fingers and toes.
Yeah.
Okay, so you did a little time in the Marine Corps. When did you join? When did you separate?
I joined September 11th of 2011, and I EAS'd towards the end of 2015, beginning of 2016.
So you did 4 to 5 years.
Yeah.
Okay. So would you say that was a good experience, a bad experience?
Well, there's pros and cons to everything. There are things I love.
Thank you.
There are things I love about the Corps and that I miss about it, and then there are things that I absolutely hated. Like
right.
Everybody.
Right.
It's an experience. It's not. It shouldn't. I don't think it should be, classified in just one. Oh, it was good, or oh, it was bad.
Agreed.
It was both. It was a life.
Yeah.
It was years of my life. So I
always used to say that as a career airman myself, I always used to say that every assignment was what you made of it. Would you agree with that, or would you?
Well, there are other facets that you can't control, but I think there's a lot of it that is in your attitude and how you handle it.
Right. Okay. Yeah, I think we're pretty much saying the same thing, but I agree with you. Like, there's also a lot more to it than just than just having a good attitude. You're right. You're right. You're right. I'm wrong.
Say wrong. Don't self-deprecate there. You know, it's just a difference.
I'm good at that. Whatever that word was.
Deprecate.
If you put yourself down, yes, I'm good at that. Okay, so you did some time in the Corps, and you know, I'm sure you still consider yourself a Marine. These guys.
Always. Once a Marine, always a Marine. Never goes away.
Can I say hoorah? Is that something like that? Oh yeah. Okay. Well, all right.
I'm not in the Army. Who is the Army?
Okay. I get fired up, you know, when I think about that stuff, and guys talk about, you know, guys and gals talk about their prior service, and you get all amped up, start using that terminology. I get a little hyped up. Okay, so anyway, that's that. Okay. So here's kind of a question. I know I sort of know what the answer is going to be, but did you find it difficult to transition from being in the Corps back to civilian life?
Oh yes, it's still a transition. You know, it takes time. Everybody's different. When I first got out, it was awful. It was hard because, you know, you're used to working all those hours, and you get out and there's nothing. There's no structure that you were used to. So I just wanted to go to work. Couldn't find work. Applied to a lot of companies and didn't pan out. So ended up going to college, and that's how I ended up at the College Charleston.
Right here at the College Charleston.
Yeah.
And you've been here. Let's see. You said you got out in 15.
End of 15, beginning of 16. So
When did you start with the school?
Beginning of 16. So
What year are you in?
I'm a junior now, so about 3 years. I've been
Okay. All right. I know that, and we'll talk about that here in a little bit, you know, when we talk about the after. But I personally did not do so hot with the transition either. I had a little bit of a identity crisis, I guess. 15 years-ish or so, I was Sergeant Mata, and then I wasn't Sergeant Mata. And I had some difficulty, man, and it's really I say crazy. I mean, everybody says it's so crazy. I think we've been around these young kids too long, but it's
surreal.
Yeah, it's surreal. You know, your head goes to these places, and like, I know that kind of happened with you. If you don't mind, I know that you did kind of go to you didn't kind of go. You went to a dark place as part of your transition. How dark did it get?
I have struggled with depression and anxiety longer than most people ever knew, and it's still an ongoing battle. At its height was when I was in the Corps, and I literally planned to kill myself. I had down to the finite details how I was going to do it. And during the transition, those feelings popped back up. They weren't as, you know, structured. They weren't as foolproof as I had it when I was in, but they appeared, and like, I didn't go to the extent of planning it, but it popped up in my head a few times, and I got away from those thoughts. I sought help, and, you know, I still seek help, but it's one of those situations.
Well, first of all, congratulations. I'm glad to hear that you had the self-awareness to, well, I think people who deal with that stuff are self-aware. It's just getting yourself away from thinking irrationally is much harder than what others who don't deal with that stuff understand. You mentioned that you were down to the planning process. You had planned it. And what I know is that experts tell people who deal with that stuff that if you are down to those details, people are in really bad shape. And so I don't know if it's the right word to use, but I congratulate you for getting yourself out of that.
Hello, my name is Maya Mata. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about how I manage my depression and what I find helpful during my fight against it. So how I view depression, well, at least mine, it's like a cement block being tied to my ankle and I am treading water. On my own, I was drowning. I was choking on it, desperately trying to fight it, but I couldn't do it on my own. By seeking help and talking and going to therapy, I was able to be taught the skills to fight against it, to strengthen myself. So by strengthening myself, I learned how to tread water and be able to keep my head above it. Now the cement block is still there, and like depression, it does not leave. And it's always going to be there. But now I know the skills, and I'm constantly trying to strengthen myself to stay above water. Now, when I mention that I have depression, people like to give advices. You should go out more. Go out to the sun. Just smile. Don't have depression. Just don't have it. Do this, do that. It's almost like someone's seeing you drown and they throw the lifesaver in the opposite direction. You have good intentions, but they're not helpful. Instead for telling someone with depression, do you need to do this? You should be doing that. Instead, ask them, what can I do? What do you need me to do? Because we can't fight depression alone. Depression isolates us. You just can't do it alone. And it helps when we have someone there to fight with us. So my advice with depression is find a safe place to practice your skills to fight against it and to find somebody to fight with you.
I know that part of the process of getting you out of that space was some research. You did some digging. You did some exploring. Can you explain that?
Yeah, I was looking for a reason to stay, basically. I was looking for ways to cope with the different things that were happening. And I studied, science, mathematics, philosophy, art, history, religion, you name it. I delved into it in various capacities. And when I was doing that, I found, and I'm not strong with mathematics, let me preface this, I'm not good at it. And a lot of people will shut off when they hear about math, but I'll keep it brief.
Well, you haven't mentioned that you're a Cowboys fan, so usually people people turn off at that point. But I decided not to bring up football. Anyway, I'm sorry. Go ahead. Yes. Continue.
So I found a study by this Harvard scholar, Benazir, and all probabilities are mapped out based on certain factors. And like a Drake equation would say, oh, we're here, so we exist, so the probability is 1. It's 100% we're here, we exist. But he wanted to go further than that. He wanted to look at, how it came about. So, for instance, the probability that your father met your mother is 1 in 20,000. The likelihood that they stayed together long enough to procreate and have children is 1 in 40,000. That you are the way you are, down to the finite details, is 1 in 400 quadrillions. Rather than being like a brother or sister, you are you.
Right. If you don't, excuse me for interrupting here, but and we don't have to get into those details, but these are not arbitrary numbers. He's
done the math.
Done the math. Okay.
It's there. Like the equation is set out. I could pull it up for you, but I couldn't. I couldn't do it for you.
Okay, but these are not arbitrary numbers.
No.
So those are some pretty relevant figures. You said 1 in 20,000, 1 in 40,000 for a person to exist, any one person to exist?
No, that's just for you to be as you are, and rather than like a brother or sister.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. Yeah.
Now, if you take these numbers and you take them back for your mother's mother, your mother's mother's mother, your father's father, father, all the way back to the dawn of man, the likelihood that you exist as a human being is 1 in 10 to the 2,685,000. Now, to give you, that's a huge number. That's 2,685,000 zeros. That's a lot of zeros. To give you an idea of this boggling number, there are only 10 to the 80 atoms in the whole known universe.
Right.
10 to the 80.
I can see you're getting passionate about that because we're getting real close right now. But that's cool. That's cool. You get as close as you want. Just don't. I don't roll that way to.
Yeah. No. It's all okay. So the likelihood that you even exist, you are more likely to be a single-celled amoeba on one of Saturn's moons than you are to be a human being in this place, in this time, experiencing this culture, this music, this everything.
Right.
And that's a beautiful idea, I always found. I mean, it's so easy to get caught up in the enormity of things and say, oh, well, I'm just this small, but you're not.
Right.
You're here.
Right.
You're existing, you're feeling. You get to experience all of this.
Yeah.
It's beautiful to think about that.
Man, that is a beautiful message, and that's kind of the stuff that I even preach to my own kids. You have to, if you take into consideration all the dominoes that had to fall in order for a certain situation to happen, to be in a specific situation. Let's just say, for example, I don't have her permission to use this example, but my daughter, for example, she's getting ready to get married very soon, right? Now, she's had some difficult times. She's had some difficult periods, and she and I have had kind of a rough relationship, right? Some of that had to do with different scenarios that have come about, along the way. But if not for those scenarios and the way those things played out, and the way the path you took and the path you took and the path you took, she would have never. The result would never have been she met this one special person and who she's getting ready to get married to. So that goes along with something that my thinking, which is you got to take the good with the bad and keep pressing. You just got to keep moving forward, keep your head out of that dark space, like you said. Be self-aware and moving forward. And
it's very easy to get caught up in that and like, oh, society says I'm this, people say I'm this, think I'm this. Well, I really like Gardner's theory of multiple intelligence. And what Gardner said was that, you fall into 8 or 9 different categories of intelligence. Like you could be a, musical intelligence. You could be a genius like Beethoven or Mozart, or you could be a physical or spatial intelligence, which means that you could be like a football player or a gymnastic or a ballerina. You could do all of these things, and your body just naturally is inclined to that. Or you could be analytically intelligent. You could be a mathematician. You could be a scientist. You're great at solving problems. Everybody has their niche, so you can't judge somebody off of these criteria, this set block. Oh, I'm not good at science. I suck. I'm never going to graduate. There's so much more to what encompasses you as a person. You can't judge yourself off those things.
We could go on and on and on about this, but I only have so much record time. But what I would like to, if I could summarize, I think, and you correct me if I'm wrong, the way you justified staying with us, I say us because the way I see it, it's you and me, bud. We got this. The way you justified sticking around was that you took in like the numbers. You were like, it was. I don't know what your feeling is about religion, but the word that comes to mind is it's miraculous that you're in this place with these experiences. And you just kind of took that in and you accepted that for what it was. And it's like you didn't want to cut yourself short. Was that a decent assessment?
That's a decent assessment. It was, there's always multiple facets to things.
Right.
That was a very large chunk of it for me, but it was also just certain people came into my life, like my best friend, Henry Alcea Mejia, and the kindness he showed me and the kindness that Sam showed me and that other people showed me, like that, it gave me a reason to continue. It was the numbers, it was a culmination of factors that it was kind of hard to deny.
Right.
It's very easy if someone just spouts off something, okay, whatever, man.
Yeah.
Well,
I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah.
But when you're faced with hard numbers, when
Buzzwords,
you're faced with these situations, it's a lot harder to deny.
Right. Man, that's deep, right? but for lack of a better word, I think it's beautiful, dude. I think it's awesome. And my dog is barking right now, and hopefully the microphones aren't picking that up. But what comes to mind is, you know, take it for what it's worth. But, you know, had you gone through that, had you done it, had you gone through with it, to me, just sitting here with you in this time, it's evident that it would have been a waste. Because you're obviously a very smart person. You are obviously a very intelligent person. I mean, the stuff that you've spouted off, right? And the different levels of thought and complexity of your ideas. What a waste it would have been. What a waste. And so I'm grateful that you decided to stick around, bro.
Yeah,
I'm grateful. And you're going to get a chance to share it because you're at the College of Charleston. You're studying
history and secondary ed, yeah.
Right, but it wasn't always that way. How'd you get to that point?
I wanted to be a business major because I wanted to be like this captain of industry. I wanted to, you know, I wanted to make the money and live a comfortable life, but it didn't pan out. There was different hiccups along the path, and the business world was too cold, too analytical. And as a whole, there was just so many factors. It just didn't work out for me. Mm-hmm. And I was forced to make a decision, you know, because I was going to be spending even more time at the college than I had already planned. So if I was already going to do it, I might as well do something I'm passionate about, which is teaching. I always have been. I've loved seeing that spark in someone's eye when they understand something.
Did you see it with me?
Yes.
Yeah.
And
I was listening. Yeah. You had me.
And history has just always been a deep passion of mine because I figure you can't know where you're going until you know where you've been. And you don't want to repeat the bad of the past, and you want to repeat the good of the past. So you need to know the past. You need to have that feeling, and I want to impart that on other people. I want to be that guy.
Right. So you're going to be a history teacher?
Yes, that's my goal.
In high school?
In high school, and then eventually college. I intend to go that track eventually.
Excellent, man. I'll tell you what, dude, good luck. Good luck, best wishes. I know you're going to do a great job. And just sitting here talking to you in this short period of time, I can already tell that you're going to make a difference.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
You're going to make an impact. Mm-hmm. And for those of us who are studying education, you know, that's all I think we can hope to do is to make an impact in somebody else's life. Because, yeah, it's kind of the point behind this YouTube channel too. So, but dude. Charleston native, Marine Corps veteran, struggling with depression. You got to a pretty dark space, but you managed to find your way out of it. And now you're here showing off what you can do intellectually, showing off what you can do. And what you did, dude, I know you didn't mean to show off. You're not tooting your own horn, but you demonstrated something I think that was pretty fantastic. And now you're going to get ready to impart that same spark onto somebody else. I just know it. Somebody's going to have you in their acceptance speech somewhere. I'd like to thank Mr. Morris. So cool, dude.
Appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you for having me. You know.
Thanks for sharing your story and having that courage to do that. So this is what it's all about, people. It's about people like Matthew Morris who overcome difficulties and challenges and have trials or tribulations and whatnot. Nobody is an exception to life, and some of us experience it differently and in difficult ways, just like Mr. Morris here, just like Matthew here. But if Matthew can manage to find his way out, then I think it's possible for anybody to do it. So,
and everybody can. Just know that you are important. You are special. You are loved. Do not hold yourself to a standard that other people hold you to. Break the mold. Be your own person. It's not about what everybody else plans for you. It's about what you plan for yourself. It's about finding that purpose in life. Because once you have that purpose, everything will fall in line. It'll all fall into place. Just know that you're loved and you're special, just the way you are.
I couldn't have said it better myself, bro. I couldn't have said it better myself. So, I'm Miguel Mata. This is Matthew Morris. You just got done watching This Way Out here on YouTube. If you like this video, you want to see more, subscribe, like, comment, send me an email, thiswoe.light@gmail.com. If you'd like to get in touch with Mr. Morris here, maybe you got some questions that you'd like to ask him, I can surely do that. Is that okay?
That's fine.
I can surely do that. We'll get you in touch. But thanks for tuning in, and thanks. Have a good day.